But when you were talking about the paranoia, I started to see linking like the performative allyship might be a way for people to literally be like, I am not racist, to have that paranoia be negated. Sometimes we don't know how people see us to them. We don't know. I don't know sometimes how I'm coming across with someone. How he says we're safe and sorry that I don't. Sometimes I'm not sure. That family could be like thinking that you see them as a threat or, you know? So it was like that paranoia that you felt just because your skin is in that you did not know was true. You just thought could be true. And because you thought it was true, you just did another action. I'm like, that's how we feel. There's times where I will drive by a gas station that I feel if it's in a really, rural area, I'm sorry, I'm not stopping. Because I just don't know. Now, I could be perfectly fine if I go in there. I'm not taking the risk though.
Yeah.
And I've learned that even with traveling with my parents, we just didn't stop at certain places. They were announcing, we're not stopping here, kids, because we're Black. No. But when you grow up in that and then you get older and you start filling in the clues, you're like, dang, that's why we didn't stop there because of this and this and this. So yeah, it's an unfortunate paranoia that is there. But for me, honestly, because I've dived deeper into culture and with journalism and having conversations with people that I would never have or thought I'd never have, including like Coleman Hughes, including Brett Weinstein and people I would have made assumptions about. I just was like, I have these conversations with these type of people. So now when I'm in the world, I'm seeing people as individuals than being part of a group that might do something to me or might assume something about me. But I can't say that isn't ever there. It is. So.
Yeah. Yeah, what Brett Weinstein's talking about or was talking about on the podcast that you guys did together, it sounds like that moment in the park is sort of in line with a joke that Mark Norman tells. Mark Norman's one of my favorite comedians. I had him on the podcast a few months back, and he tells a joke about walking down the sidewalk on the same side of the street as another Black guy. But like the Black guy actually seems dangerous, like his body language. It's not because he's Black. And in his head, he's like, okay, would I rather get stabbed or would I rather seem racist? And like his joke was, I'd rather get stabbed than seem racist. Like that was obviously he tells it, with I'm just paraphrasing the main punchline of the joke. But yeah, he's like, yeah, it's like sometimes you'd rather get stabbed or have something terrible happen to you than the possibility that you want to seem racist or that someone is going to call you out for being racist, which I guess if you're doing something like podcasting or posting, you have to, at least what I try to do is create the best content I can, prepare for it, record it, chop it up, release it. And then I know that by putting out content there in the public space, I am subjecting myself to whatever people want to say, whether it's good or bad or in between. But if there is a reverse paranoia from the perspective of just a white dude, I would say that it's the paranoia that by doing something, I'm going to seem like I'm being racist in some way when really there is some evidence for my actions, but people are going to choose not to acknowledge that. They're just going to see that I crossed the street with a Black dude and, be like, oh, Mark Norman's a piece of shit or something or whatever. And, not that I have the type of following where someone's going to take a video of me crossing the street, but it is.
I'm going to. Okay.
If exactly. Yeah. Everyone's watching at this point anyway. There are cameras everywhere. But it's like, it's just interesting, like people's interactions and social media is, and the way corporate media approaches spreading information is so fucked for the way that they prey on these anxieties. But if you have a white guy and a Black guy that are trying to have an authentic interaction, and the white guy has that sort of paranoia of, oh, I want to say this, but like maybe this person's going to think I'm racist, and the Black guy's like, oh, like, is this person saying this because he's racist, or like, is this me just getting in my own head? Try to have an authentic interaction with that. So it's like all this mind fucking that social media does, and just like this kind of sound bite bullety, like this is the headline, this is what happened, enrage, like click, share. It's like, I feel like it all just adds to that. And eventually there's going to be a breaking point, which has already started to happen, where people just like step away and they're just like, fuck this. Like, I want the content I want, and I can tune into it on YouTube or an independent creator, someone that is going to give me the context and not cause me to just like be constantly in this paranoid state.
It's funny to talk about the paranoia you feel, or as white people feel, because I have sensed that, but on the opposite end, where I might be thinking I'm just having a typical conversation with someone that's white, but then we might start talking about nothing too deep, maybe referencing race in there, ethnicity, whatever, and it seems like they're going overboard with showing they're not racist, like quoting Maya Angelou and then going into, like doing extra stuff where I'm like, I know what you're doing. You don't have to do all this. But when you speak about it, I'm like, okay, so there's a paranoia, which I've heard this, a paranoia of people are like, I don't want them to think I'm racist, so I don't even know what to say. And like that, the comedian was willing. And
I will say,
go ahead.
I sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to say, like, the example with Brett Weinstein and also the joke that Mark Norman tells. I will say that if I've felt that sort of reverse paranoia that I'm gonna seem racist or come off racist in some way, I don't feel that, or if I have felt it, it hasn't really registered to me, which is maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing, that I'm just not aware of that feeling. But I just feel like the podcasting format where you're talking to someone one-on-one, there's going to be so much context in that conversation that I'm not really worried about it. Like, if I was performing in front of an audience of thousands of people, maybe that would cross my mind. But in individual interactions, I mean, it's not really... People are going to, I'm going to give people a lot of information based on my actions and based on my words. And I'm pretty confident that if they come away liking me or disliking me, it's not going to be because of a racist thing. Like, I'm almost certain of that. So I'm like, let this person think what they want. I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. I don't want this interaction to be diluted by my anxiety. I don't always succeed on that, but that's been my approach, where I'm just like, if this person thinks this, then like, fuck it. Like, I know I'm trying to come from a good place.
I would rather that than someone holding back because they're like too focused on color. I would rather that, because if, let's just say you do say something, then okay, let's...
Brittany, I don't see color.
You. Okay, this podcast is done, bye. I don't see color at all. This is great. I'm like, thank you so much for not seeing me. But no, I'd rather those conversations, because then if they do say something, then you can talk about that. But I don't hold back. I don't want anyone else holding back. But when you were talking about the paranoia, I started to see linking, like, the performative allyship might be a way for people to literally be like, I am not racist, to have that paranoia be negated. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's an incentive for people to perform allyship, because they got to make sure people know they're good, safe, and love Black people.
Yeah, it's like a corporation donating millions of dollars for the wrong reasons. It's like a signal to say that I am the way that is within the Overton window. Do not attack me because I'm in that woke box. I'm setting up a non-racist flare.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you're drowning in your company's getting all these attacks. Maybe you'll go under. You're getting dragged through Twitter. Maybe someone made a hashtag about you, and then you like fire off this woke flare into the sky in the form of a donation or a tweet, and you're like, I am not one of them. I am one of you.
I started saying, like, when I started seeing like BLM signage in people's businesses, and they were outside the door. I don't know if I said this in an article or podcast, but I just said I was actually in Brooklyn. I was seeing all of these stores having it that otherwise haven't had it for years. And I was just thinking, this, to me, it was similar in a way of, during the 7 plagues with the Pharaoh and Moses, when the ghost of death and with the blood and with the people putting the lamb's blood above their doors, and if you have the lamb's blood there, that the ghost would pass you by and not kill your firstborn. And I just like connected that to the BLM signage. Is like, it was like this pass me by, like don't when the riots were happening, like don't harm us. Even if let's just say they were completely not for BLM, but if they had that there, it was almost like, okay, they're good, we're gonna pass by them, or even, oh, they're good, we're not gonna cancel them.